Hey guys, Anime Gypsy here with Hunter x Hunter chapter 375 review. And okay, this chapter overall is very informative from from the narrator's perspective. So there's a lot of information that we the readers know that nobody else knows. And I think this makes it interesting because now we know the nen abilities of specific princes, and even the princes don't know those nen abilities themselves. So let's get started with the chapter. Now, the chapter begins with my least favorite prince, Tyson. She is intoxicatingly kawaii. I hate that and everything it stands for. It. A little sprinkle of kawaii is okay, but when you dump an entire bucket of kawaii in one page, that is not okay. That is very distasteful, and I really hate it. Now, the tip of the iceberg in the kawaii-ness is the book that she wrote, and she is reciting the book verse for verse. She's saying, as the teachings of my book, verse 5, subverse, yada yada yada, and it's really disgusting. It's really annoying. I really hate her. I just want her to die. I really want this character to die. I don't think I've ever wanted a character to die as much as I've wanted Tyson to die, and I'm including famous antagonists in this category. She is overly kawaii. She deserves to die. Please, please kill her. Please kill her. Can't emphasize how much I want this character dead. Togayashi, if you're watching this, please kill her. I beg of you. Okay. So, next up in this category, well, actually, no, first let's talk about Izanagi, because Izanagi agrees with me. He doesn't really explicitly say it, but you could see it from his expression. No, he's not taking this kawaii-ness, and he's really bothered by it. And right afterwards, this is the first part of the story. The second part of the story is basically a discussion on all of the nen, or on some of the prince's nen beasts and their abilities. So now we know what Tyson's nen beast it does, what the second prince Camelia's nen beast does, what the fifth prince's nen beast does, what the seventh prince's nen beast does, and what Hulkingberg's nen beast does. So the second part of this chapter, we first look at Tyson's nen beast, and apparently Tyson's nen beast has a ability that allows it to collect aura from other people and possibly possess them. And it's just interesting because what are you going to do with this aura? We don't really get an explanation. The possession isn't enough, because if you possess people that practically don't know how to use nen, then what's the use? Like, is that it? Is that all you've got? And if so, it's because this only applies to the followers. So if she had very powerful folk on her side, our followers, like more of Izanagi's level type guys, then maybe the nen beast is able to transfer some of the energy of the lower tier guys to Izanagi, therefore giving him more nen and prolonging him in fights. Maybe that is the case. Maybe. Now let's jump to the fifth prince. Now, the fifth prince is, I think his name is Topo or Tapa, or I really can't pronounce his name, or Tubapu, or I can't pronounce his name for the life of me. The fifth prince's nen beast is a transmuter type. And basically, it's weird because he's able to produce chemicals that make people feel a certain way. And this can be OP and it can be weak, because just because you produce a chemical doesn't mean you necessarily inflict that chemical on someone. So how does the nen beast have to touch people? Does the nen beast, like, how does this work? Yes, you could produce the chemicals, but what could you do with them? We don't know, so it's vague. Now, the seventh prince, Lazarus, his nen beast ability is also very vague. And we just understand that it's how should I explain this? It but just creates traps based on people's preferences and things, and it's weird because we don't know what trap entails. Is it like a Tom and Jerry mouse trap, or is it something more, like or like what is it? Like we don't get an explanation. Now, let's go back to the second Prince Camellia. Now, again, I'm not dissing on her, but we don't know whether her Nenbeast, whose ability is, and I quote, once a person has met certain conditions, then they are under her control. So we don't know if this is OP or not. At first it sounds OP, but we don't know what those conditions are. We don't. Is it Shinzo level control where you say the slightest things and you're under her control, just replying on her? Or is it something more complex than that? Like, what is it? What are the criteria? Depending on the criteria, she might be OP. And the thing is with her, I don't take her as a smart individual, so she can't really trick people into meeting those criteria. Like if someone like Shikamaru had that ability, then he would be very overpowered. But Camellia, she doesn't seem that smart. So I'd have to hold off on saying whether she's OP or not, depending on what the criteria are and what they entail. But from what I've seen so far, I don't think it's that impressive. And, her main ability is what is killer at this point. The post-mortem Nen Beast. The post-mortem Nen Cat. The Nen Cat of Death. Like, that is by far way more impressive in my perspective. Now, Hulkenberg's Nen Beast. This is a difference. This is like part 3. So this is the thing with Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg's Nen Beast is able to collect like the feathers on each individual person. When these people are together, then what ends up happening is their powers multiply. And this is crazy. This is a crazy Nen ability because from what we've heard from Benny Boy's boy, is that he right now is at a very high tier of Nen when all of his bodyguards are with him. Now, this scene, we see Benny's bodyguard talking to Benny and being like, hey, this is critical, I need to kill him now. But right when that happens, Hulkenberg's Nen Beast makes killer eye contact. He's like, don't you even think about it. And he frees like, nah, I need backup, Benny, I need back. That was pretty nice. That was pretty nice. Now, this is the thing with Hulkenberg's ability. Right at the end of this scene, right at the end of this part, he leaves some of his bodyguards behind. So is the secret to defeating him killing off his bodyguards one by one until he is at the very end and he is weaker because all of his bodyguards are dead, therefore he can't really share the power, and his power doesn't multiply with each individual person around him. So does that mean the secret to defeating Hulkenberg is taking out his bodyguards one by one? And if so, does that mean that Benny's boy is going to kill Hulkenberg's bodyguards? Who knows? Who knows? Okay, so Hanzo and Biscuit. This is the next thing. We see Hanzo and Biscuit, and Hanzo just goes back and he explains to Biscuit what's going on, and Biscuit was pissed. Biscuit was really pissed. She was like, dude, you forced me to stay up all this time. Like, I pulled an all-nighter practically for you. Like, come on, man, that's not cool. And basically what ends up happening is they try and explain what's going on to the bodyguard, Vergi, and Vergi isn't buying it. Nah, he isn't buying it at all. And then all of a sudden, Biscuit just out of nowhere, she releases her Nen ability, and not technically Nen ability because her Hatsu is different, but she uses her Nen to revert back to her original form, which is the very muscular physique. And I just expected Vergi to be like, hey, I'm not messing with this. And then you see like the dialogue, and he's actually in love with Biscuit Kruger. Like, really? Biscuit Kruger. He's in love with Biscuit Kruger, who is much older and much bigger than he is. What's her age? Like 44, 43? It's something along those lines. She's pretty old, but, love isn't measured by age or size. Let's just put it that way. Uh, I'm not shipping them together because I'll be honest, Vergi seems like the type of guy that would die in like the first few chapters of him being introduced. But this is Hunter x Hunter, Togashi Yashihiro's greatest work so far. So, and it's very unpredictable. It's known for that. So we don't know if he's going to end up being a big character later on or not. We just don't. Now, we get a proposal by Biscuit. By Biscuit. She's like, okay, I'm gonna teach you guys. I'm gonna teach you ignorant folk how to use Nen properly. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. I don't think, honestly, that any of them have an act for it. Maybe Vergi, just a little bit. But, you know, this is a series where unpredictability is something that is an asset that Togashi uses. So we don't know who's going to be good at what. Remember the Fourth Prince? Remember what we originally thought of him? Remember how he turned out to be a genius in Nen? We don't even know if he killed his associate yet. We left off on that like a while ago. We don't know. And it's... And remember how we originally thought that Benjamin was just a weakling, and how we originally thought that Camellia was just a weakling? This is a series of unpredictability, honestly. Like, we can't predict anything. We don't know if Sail is powerful or not. Just throwing that out there. Even though Sail seems like a weakling, we don't know if he's powerful or not, because every single time we underestimated one of the princes, kapow! Just, we're proven wrong. It's, no, first Benjamin, then Camellia, next it's Sail. Maybe. Now, so where am I? Bellatrine. Oh yeah, so basically Bellatrine, one of the people in the Hunter Association, decides to explain, and I'm talking about a visual explanation of how the room is sealed off and how basically the effect goes on with the Nen, how they're basically sealed off from the rest of the area. And what's going on here is he leaves, but he doesn't see them and they don't see him. But I'm guessing that this ability only affects senses. So they are in the same room, but they can't sense one another. That is what I'm guessing is happening right there. It's not that they're transported, it's they just can't see one another. That is my understanding of this situation. Okay, now, I'm gonna make a video about my theory or theories, actually two videos technically, about Zerdechnicht, the prince, and Kurapika, and what I think is going to go down there. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you didn't, just leave a dislike. And, you know, if you really like this video, subscribe. There's a subscribe button down here. You'll have access to more of my videos. Until next time, guys, this is Anime Gypsy, and I'm out. See you guys later.